That's right. Like, are you really, really ready? Hey, everybody, we're here.
Good morning, or whatever it is where you are, and welcome to Real Talk with Robin and Nina. And today we're talking about holiday offers and if they really work. Hey, so Robin, have you fallen prey to the holiday offer thingy ding?
So I have contrary opinions about this very controversial topic. Um, both my parents are hippies. I grew up in a very anti-consumerist society. So like I grew up. I didn't even know about Black Friday until I was like in late teens. Right, it was always the day after Thanksgiving was Buy Nothing Day. And Black Friday was just this evil ruse to get people to buy things on Buy Nothing Day. Of course, it's the opposite way, kind of the way history shook out. But even still, like, I'm kind of like sit and then just like, no, I'm not going to buy anything. Like, take that, capitalism. But on the flip side, my wife Dasha goes crazy and buys everything. And then some on like Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday. She's already hustling, like looking at what deals are going to be out there. So I know that it's a thing. But I'm like generally very like you can't get me. I think for anybody out there, South Park did like a great Black Friday special, and that's just like that's in my head every time Black Friday season comes around.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I mean, first of all, like you, I didn't grow up with Black Friday because I grew up in Switzerland and we didn't have Black Friday because we don't have Thanksgiving. So that was like sort of a non-issue. And then to me, first of all, I never bought anything at Black Friday because in the old days you didn't have the internet. And number one, and number two, I'm always done with my Christmas shopping by Thanksgiving. Like I pride myself in being done by the end of November. There's a practical reason to it because I do travel to Europe very often for the holidays, so I want to have that stuff out of my way. And I also hate nothing more than crowded, rude people with, a gazillion bags hanging off their arms at some department store yelling at each other. But then there's something to be said about getting in the spirit. And for me, physically going to a nice Christmas market, that's nice. But that's not Black Friday, right?
No, I feel that, and I wanted to say first off, as a terrible shopper, Black Friday is usually like a reminder, like, oh right, Christmas is almost here. I still haven't bought like anything for anybody. It's like percolating a little bit. And I will say, the last couple of years, I've been on the lookout for those. The one exception, and this is more like the Cyber Monday stuff, but there are all of the like. Softwares or subscriptions or stuff that you use that you're going to pay for throughout the year anyway.
Yep.
Those are the deals that I'll like low key be eyeing on Black Friday.
But you have to keep an eye on it. I got an offer for Black Friday, which started already now in my email a couple of days ago, and I'm like, wow, this is a really generous offer. It was 25% off a yearly a subscription I do have anyway. And then last night, I finally had time to go in, and thankfully, I read the fine print. The 25% off is not for the subscription I already have. The 25% off is if I upgrade to the next level. So there's always some kind of fine print. And I think, and this is something that I think speaks to, like, not only Black Friday, but Small Business Saturday, and certainly for Cyber Monday, where you get into that shopping frenzy. Where, and there's also sort of this, FOMO moment where you're like so worried you might be missing out on something that you go into a shopping spree that you otherwise would probably not do. I know, is that a girl thing or is that also a guy thing?
I don't know if that's gender specific. It's certainly not something that I can relate to.
I had a girlfriend who would say, I go Christmas shopping and it goes like this. First, it's, for them. Then it becomes like one for me, one for them, one for me, one for them. And towards the end of the day, it's like two for me, one for them, two for me, one for them. I'm like, I so totally relate to that. And that's another reason why I love shopping early before all that shopping madness starts. Because yes, maybe I'm not always getting the best deals, but if I look at the total, I come out much cheaper because I'm not in that frenzied like shop everything moment.
Yeah. Oh, my
Sure.
Yeah, I want to take a small tangent over to so there are two things I think, obviously this is a whole cultural event now, especially in America.
Hi, Firestar.
Yeah, she's being very distracting. That's my cat Firestar. Where is she?
Hi.
Um,
She wants to weigh in on the topic. She wants to make sure you buy enough. Do you take care of cats, or is that just for dogs? You buy.
I probably don't spoil her as much as I could, but she's certainly spoiled.
Okay. She wants to make sure you buy enough food for her on
exactly.
whatever holiday suits you.
But what I was going to say is there are, you're probably more distracting than you are cute. I'm going to make you go away. There are like two kind of great things about this cultural frenzy that Black Friday has become, which are, I think, and they each deserve a little bit of our attention, one more so than the other, but it's a whole week now, right? It's Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, and then Giving Tuesday. And I think that Small Business Saturday and Giving Tuesday deserve attention, especially this year.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's really important, obviously a lot of small businesses have just been totally crushed by the coronavirus. And so, I encourage everybody to, like, as you're going through this shopping spree, make sure that you're paying extra attention and to, the small businesses that need help, right? Buy local if you can. Amazon certainly doesn't need your dollars as much, even if their deals might be a little bit better, kind of, all of that thing.
But also don't forget that, not that, I mean, I like my Amazon convenience, but Amazon also is an outlet for a lot of smaller businesses too. Mm-hmm. So or maybe also if you do go with Amazon, make sure that you go with a small business that is in their ecosystem, because you can look at that too. As you're saying that, what occurs to me is, why the hell is Giving Tuesday on Tuesday after you've spent all your damn money on Friday, Saturday, and Monday? Giving Tuesday should be the Wednesday before, or Tuesday for all I care, before Thanksgiving, so you can give generously before you have spent all your hard-earned money on the frivolous things that you might not need,
Yeah, that's a great point. Anybody who is planning on donating to nonprofits, go ahead and start now.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I did that the other day. I have my favorite charity, and they got a check from me, because I'm like, before I do anything dumber with it, let me do that. So Bryn agrees with us. Thank you, Bryn.
And Firestar's back. She just doesn't want to stay out of the spotlight.
That's fine. And we do have Kieran, who thinks that pets are great additions to all web chats. So there you go. You might get your hair rearranged any moment now.
Yeah, I can tell.
So back to our specials. So I mean, I've seen advertising where specials are already advertised for all of November, right? I mean, it's like people putting out Christmas songs and Christmas decorations before Halloween has even passed, or right after Halloween, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet. So these specials are starting sooner and sooner. Do you think that actually works?
I mean, yes. I'm certainly, I'm certainly tuned into kind of all of that way before. I think it was like a week or two ago already when I was like, I wonder who's going to be doing, like I said, I'm kind of more tuned into the Cyber Monday than the Black Friday, but I was already like, I wonder what the Black Friday or the Black Friday weekend specials are going to look like.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen a lot that are targeted, at least to me specifically. But it's something that has kind of already been on my mind. At least there have been a lot of memes about it also on Facebook, which is probably,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've been targeted with, targeted advertising. I looked at I've been coveting a Peloton And I don't know where to put it in my New York City apartment. So it's probably
don't say that out loud because Facebook and Google are listening.
No, they already listened. It's the cat's out of the bag already, or in my case, the dog. So I get targeted advertising, and I already have been getting emails, and on my skin in my browser, I've been getting advertising for specials, Peloton's Fridays, Black Friday specials. So that definitely is you look at something long enough, you will immediately get targeted with at any given time, not just at the holidays. So let's translate this discussion into what happens. How can you harness this as a small business and get a Black Friday deal or a small business Saturday deal out there?
Yeah, certainly. So I want to address one thing first. I mean, this is kind of patting our own back, since we specialize in talking to people about kind of organic traffic and organic content through video. But one thing just to be mindful of is advertising costs skyrocket at this time, right? If you're going to be buying ads on Facebook, one, it's going to be a lot more expensive, and two, it's much less likely that your target are going to see them because there's just so much more competition out there.
Yeah, very true.
If you're a small business with a limited advertising budget, it's actually really easy to kind of get crushed out of the race in terms of like what people are looking at. So if you have, if you do have like a content machine that drives organic traffic, like that's really kind of the best strategy for the holiday season, right? Because your audience is kind of already built in and they're already going to have eyes on your content. So if you're thinking about strategy in terms of like, okay, I have an offer, like I want to be talking to people about something like this, really prioritizing reaching out to the audience that you already have through, or even just like producing more content or higher level content than you usually do to get more eyeballs on it, is going to pay back a lot more returns than ad spend for this time, unless you have an Amazon ad budget.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think there is something, again, I think having tie yourself in with the FOMO factor, right? Fear of missing out. I think that helps. And, I just this, so I've been paying attention to this a lot more the last couple of weeks, because we are actually going to have a special offer that we will offer on coming Monday through Small Business Saturday. And the other, just this morning, I think it was, I got an email and I looked at it on my phone, and it said, closing tonight or only today or something like that. And it did actually give me that quick pause of, am I missing out on a good deal? And so I did give the email a glance. I decided it wasn't for me, but just sort of that, because we're just all in that sort of that, the deals are coming, it's the holidays, it's what do we need? Where can we get something out of it?
Right.
It's just sort of that, that peer pressure is the wrong word, but sort of it's like a group dynamic, right? Where if everybody does, then we do too.
Yeah, certainly. And it's something to play on, like you said, to increase your email open rates, right? It's already on people's mind. They're more likely to click on something because they know that the best deals are now. Everybody's curious about what those exactly are going to look like.
And I think also, for bigger corporations, the deadline has already passed. But even for, small and mid-sized business, they might still be looking to spend some money to deal with, taxes. So
yeah, that's a great point.
I'm seeing, like, I got an offer the other day to pay upfront for the entire year for a service that is pretty expensive. And I was like, not really into spending, $10,000 in one go right now. But for somebody who needs that kind of tax break because they had a really good year, because some businesses did have very good years, as did we, thanks to COVID. So it might actually be a great opportunity for someone who needs to write a tax write-off to do that. And
Yeah,
I would say do it on Giving Tuesday. But you know, if there's stuff that you need for the year and you know you're going to need it and you're actually going to use it, then this is, or you know, and the other thing is, and this is where our offer will, you know, sort of speak to, is the new year, the new me, the new resolutions. Let's get, like, you know, let's finally get our heads wrapped around, you know, video marketing. So it's kind of nice to have something that helps you with something that you've always wanted to do, or something you've always wanted to get started with. So I think that is sort of a great, so that urgency. Hi, Donna. Moving deadlines, forget about many. We do this with moving deadlines. Yeah, actually, Donna, that you're speaking to something really powerful, which is, I've done this once or twice myself, and I always felt a little guilty doing that. Where you're saying that
really, Nina, can you just say Donna?
Yeah. So Donna Kastner, who we love and adore, and is a client of ours, said, "Yep, urgency is great, decision trigger, but many overdo this with moving deadlines. Suddenly tonight's your last chance becomes one more week, etc." And that is something actually that pisses me off a little bit, because for the people who did pull the trigger in time and sort of did their due diligence, now all of a sudden there's an extension. And I think if you do that, you need to offer the people who already have bought a little bonus goodie or something, just because otherwise you're not going to be taken seriously the next time around. You do a special offer like that. Like, I know there's one guy who's famous for, you know, all these online courses, and he does this all the time. Like, oh, you know, this was so successful, we extended it. Like, if it was so successful, you would have closed it. So that didn't work for me, at least. So I think that is a big thing, is to stick to it. And that actually brings up another topic I wanted to ask your opinion on, Robin. So, and you and I had this discussion just last week. So I know we're going to have this Friday special. This not Friday special, sorry, this Small Business Saturday special. And I pre-sold already a couple of the spots to clients who didn't know we were going to have this special. I offered them the special because my thing is that if they go online, and we're going to be advertising this heavily next week, so be prepared, then I don't want them to think, oh shit, I'm kind of being like penalized for not, you know, for shopping early and doing this. Well, how do you feel about that, Robin?
No, I totally agree with you on that. I mean, you know, there's certainly multiple ways to look at it. I mean, I certainly know my share of people that are, and a lot of people even specialize in this, or like make it a strategy where they're like, okay, it's like this one day only, right? And you know, and they even talk about it. Like, they'll announce that there's going to be a deal, but you can't even buy the deal, or you can't even get it till that one day. I know that there's, you know, that I know that there's data to back that up as being effective. But I'm kind of with you, where it just, like, that doesn't feel quite right to me. You know, if you're going to offer something, you're right. Like, we want people to buy early, right? We don't want people to wait to pull the trigger until like one specific day, right? If people are interested, I think it should be available to them. You know, professional salespeople listening to this who are cringing because I don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to chime in. But, you know,
I think what it does is it gives you sort of that focus day where you can just focus on one day and just blitz it like crazy.
Right.
And if you have the kind of mailing list that that has a stomach for that and waits for those deals, that's great. But I would venture to guess, I mean, we already having conniption over sending out, what is it, 5 emails next week instead of our usual 3.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty lengthy discussion about, do we want to do this to our mailing list? Because we covered our mailing list. We know pretty much everybody on that mailing list, and we don't want to spam. We don't want to feel like we're spamming them.
Well,
so
I think you bring up a really good point, which is, you know, that's our strategy because we do really know everybody on it, right?
Yeah.
None of the people on our mailing list, or none of the people that are kind of in our circle, are faceless, right? It's not like we've got
there's only a very small percentage where we don't really know who they are, and those are probably the Russian bots.
Although we've got fewer of those now, I think.
Yeah. That's good.
But yeah, I mean, that it's different when you're doing something or when you're providing a service that's really high touch versus, selling something
Right.
to a million people for $25.
Right. I think that's I was just going to say that too. I think it depends on what your sales cycle is. It depends on how high ticket how high ticket your item is. And it depends on how well you know your audience. And the other thing is, like, I mean, we're capping our offer because we can't handle more than X amount of people, because we're still at a point where everybody gets on the phone with me, because I want to know who's in my groups,
Right.
because I want to make sure that I have groups that are cohesive and filled with people who are coachable and lovely, and we'll get something out of it, because there are people out there who are not well served with what we offer. So
Yeah.
it might be too early for them. They might be way beyond what we offer. So I still, and I mean, I know, I'm hoping I can keep this up for a good long while longer, where I can actually get on the phone with people, every single one of our clients, new clients, and make sure that they are a good fit.
Yeah. I want to do like a slight tangent to that, but kind of keeping on the same track, which is, so for anybody that's just tuning in now, so we're not going to tell you what it is unless you ask us really nicely, but we will be announcing that we're going to be doing a Small Business Saturday offer next week on Monday. And it's the first time that we've really kind of put together a comprehensive strategy around something like that. And just wanted to ask you, Nina, what, kind of like your thoughts or your feelings about that, or like, why did this year feel like the right year as opposed to previous years? Or, what was the process of kind of putting that offer together like for you?
That's a really interesting question. So the first part of the question, why this year and why not last year? I think last year I at least felt I was still running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and I didn't have anything cohesive to offer for Black Friday. So I think this year has just come together so amazingly with building a community, as we had said we wanted to do last year, at the same time, and having a very clear offering on the table. And I think without a clear offer, and I think, and an offer that we know speaks to a bigger group of people, rather than something very specific that has a longer sales cycle, that is for a much smaller group, I think that doesn't lend itself to a holiday special. I think, and so since we have the thing that we're offering on Monday, it's easily accessible. It's not a huge, very expensive ticket item. It is something that a bigger group of people could really find very appealing and go for the deal that we're offering, which I think is a very good deal. So that's number one, that I think the time was just right to do it this year. And the other thing is, since we've never done it, I figured let's just try it out, right? Because maybe, we've just been filling our programs whenever we have the next one, by organically talking to people and inviting them into the programs. And that works really well for the higher ticket items. And I just feel for the lower ticket item, it's too much effort. There's a relationship between time invested on getting the client and the price of the program, where at some point it just doesn't, the math just doesn't stack anymore. So we figured, let's try this. Let's do a blitz. Put a deadline on it, and let's see whether we can fill this program by the end of a week, and make it such an attractive offer that it's a no-brainer. And I think that'll also, for me, I think it does a couple of things. I want to see whether this kind of tactic actually works, number one. Number two, see whether the general population is interested in the offer we have. So I think it's also could be a really good validation. I think the product itself or the service itself is a no-brainer. It's great, but I think it might also show us whether we're selling it with the proper language and with the proper positioning. I think we're going to learn a lot next week, even if the sale part doesn't happen the way we imagine it would happen. And then thirdly, and lastly, for me, since I'm the one who does most of the sales right now, I think that to me, it's very attractive to say we have this 1 week where we're blitzing it, where I know I'm just focusing on it rather than always being in that sort of sales, hamster wheel. I find that actually really attractive where I can plan. It's like being in production again, right? You're working on a big production. There's going to be pre-production, which is sort of manageable, and then there's going to be the absolute madness a week before you shoot. Then it's going to be the shoot, and then there's going to be like we're all flat on our bellies and exhausted, and we're dealing with the edit, and so I think I kind of like. So that's why I kind of like the idea of being able to manage our time that way, where we just know that week we're razor focused on selling, and then hopefully we fill the whole damn thing and then we're done. And then we can focus on, giving our clients the value that we promised we will give them.
Yeah, certainly. I have just a couple of kind of like final thoughts and wrap up questions that I want to throw out. I guess this is more for anybody, anybody that's listening now or anybody that's listening, to the recording in the future. Are you doing anything for Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday? I'm very curious about that, especially in the small business space. Obviously, Small Business Saturday, I think, is really important. And then two, why, if it's the first year or if you just recently started, kind of same question, why this year? I wanted to add just one other thing to what you were saying, Nina, which is, similar to that final thought that you put about kind of the sales process, is I think that one of the big differentiators for me why this year is, we've, I think, finally found we finally created like a reliable system for like generating and retaining clients.
Yep.
Not that, I was just reading the comment. Yes, planning is super important when creating content. If the plan goes well, everything goes well.
Agreed.
But like I was saying, we've been like that. Like you said, we had a great year, and I think a big part of that was we finally kind of solidified a process for like engaging people and engaging new clients that is systemized and repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
And so Black Friday or Small Business Saturday was kind of easy to kind of plug into that, right? There wasn't this whole extra thing that needed to be created. It's just like, okay, how do we take this system that already works and then put this event into it?
Yeah, that's true. We last year, I think that was the part where when I said I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Yeah, we did not have any systems. I mean, we were still throwing spaghetti at the wall and looking, at what sticks. So I think, and that's, you cannot plan if there is no vessel to plan within, right? I mean, let me rephrase that. Of course you can plan, but you cannot plan something additional to what you're anyway doing already if there is no something to add it to.
Structure will set you free.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So we're very excited to see how next week will go.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're on our email list, we will be sending you 2 extra emails next week, but they're very good. We spent extra attention writing them. Okay. So
yes. And they all have a nice video attached to it. So please don't think that this is something we'll be doing every single week. This is just our special for the general shopping frenzy that will start taking place end of next week. And as always, if you have questions, you know where to reach us. And we'll see how next week goes. I'm very excited to see whether, if and how this works. And we can always, Robin, maybe do a wrap up at the other end of this.
Yeah, that's great. I would actually love to for anybody that's paying attention and is interested, is going to be paying attention all week. I would really love to hear from people kind of what they thought about the process, right? How they thought we pulled it off, whether or not, how our execution went, right? Yep. From a meta standpoint.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Actually, that would be really awesome. And also just what we learned, because I mean, we're doing this, we're not adding anything. No, we're not doing any LinkedIn ads or anything else. So this is really plainly and only organic. So it's very, very interesting to see how we do.
I rock and roll. I think that's everything we had for today, right?
Yep, I think so. We covered it pretty well.
Cool. I'll say ciao. I'll have my cat say goodbye. Firestar.
I don't know where Tigger is, but somewhere. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for the comments we got. And we'll talk to all of you at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Signing off.